this thing on? I'm not sure if this is on. Just kidding. I know it's on. I want to welcome you tonight to our watch party on Facebook here. The topic is foam rolling. And again, it being a fairly broad topic, but we thought of it because it is a question or a discussion I get in my office a lot, as not only the physical therapy part of it as treating an injured athlete, but also the performance aspect as being a coach. So I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've seen all the types of foam rollers. I was in a store the other day and I saw 13 different rollers on the shelf. Some have some are balls, some are tubes with knobs sticking out. Some now they vibrate. Some you can put ice in them. Some are made out of organic bamboo. I don't know, I made that last one up, but you get the point. A huge variety of ones, and which one's the best one, and should I be using them, period. And so we thought we'd take kind of an FAQ approach and just go through the common questions that come up on foam rolling. So again, thanks for joining us, and hoping this helps. So I get often asked, like, why does it help, or the kind of the theory on why foam rolling makes my calf feel a bit better after I do it. If we're really honest, and we're not asking a foam rolling company, they may tell you a different story. I hate to say it, but if you're looking really at asking medical professionals or people who study human movement to treat injured athletes or work on the performance side of things, we know that it's mainly based on what we call neural mechanism or neurological mechanism, to where when you roll that calf for a bit, it's going to decrease this perception of pain or tightness in that area for a bit. So you roll it a bit, you stand up and you walk, or you go for a little run, and you're like, hey, it feels a bit better. What we really know it doesn't do is break up fascia or break up scar tissue or release fascia. Thankfully, our tissues aren't that brittle. By rolling a tool on them, it breaks them up. Again, so the theory being more kind of neural based than breaking up any tissue. So a real common question I get, right? Does foam rolling, should I foam roll to prevent injuries? And really, I will say that I'll use myself as an example. Knock on wood, probably totally jinx myself, but I've been doing endurance sports for about 12, 13 years. I've been fortunate to not really suffer from any injuries. Of course, I get little things here and there. I've had to miss maybe a race or two over 12 years or so. I'm not someone who uses a foam roller in my routine, so I feel like it hasn't been something I've needed to stay injury-free. I see athletes who I coach and know personally that don't use a foam roller that don't get injured. I see some who use a foam roller who still get injured often. What the research really shows here, again, it's really not a tool that's helping reduce injury by any means. If you feel like you use it and it's like, if I don't use it I get injured all the time, then stick with it, I would say. But really using myself as a kind of a study of one, and also just knowing many athletes that if you're going to try to tackle injury prevention, a better bang for your buck is to really go through your training habits, kind of look at what's called your biomechanics, kind of how your body moves, your proper recovery, your training intensities, that you're not doing too much intensity to injure your tissue. So that's where I kind of put my attention versus a foam rolling routine for injury prevention. So on the topic of injury, is it something I should use a foam roller when I have an injury? I injure my IT band. Should I be rolling my IT band to help recover from this injury? This is where I think using a foam roller actually can be a bit detrimental, and I'm talking more in the scenario of that acute injury, to where my injury just happened and I immediately went to the foam roller and started rolling on it because that's what I was told to do, or that's what my uncle did, or that's what I read on the internet. We do know that our tissues heal. And if you do something to disrupt the healing process, the normal inflammatory process after tissue gets injured, and you take a tool and you do some rolling on that, it may not be beneficial to it. So I would say in some cases I've had to have a patient stop doing it because they just were rolling too much on that area, and kind of making things worse. So really, it's not a good tool for treating an injury. Your best bet there is to let the tissue heal. Obviously, get it seen by a medical professional to kind of know what you're dealing with and how you should progress through the injury. But jumping on a foam roller and kind of smashing that tissue after it's been injured isn't really the best thing. Performance, right? I want to be a better athlete. I want to crush that half marathon. I want to improve my time in my next sprint triathlon. Everybody's looking to improve their performance. So, do I need to have a foam rolling routine to improve my performance? And really, this is kind of an interesting topic. There are some studies that have looked at performance in relation to foam rolling, and really not a lot of support to say, like, if I do a foam rolling routine, I'm going to be able to cross that finish line faster in my next race than if I didn't do it. There's some studies that do show a slight improvement in range of motion with certain techniques. Does that kind of extrapolate into improved performance? That's a bit of a leap. I would say if you're looking to improve performance, that you tackle kind of what I call the pillars of performance, and that's going to be your consistent training, your proper training intensities, proper recovery, including sleep, nutrition, being at an ideal racing weight, and of course your race strategy and your race pacing and kind of execution on race day. And of course, beautiful weather, right? All the stars kind of align and you have a great performance. That's where I'd put my attention. I don't think a foam rolling routine has to fit in there necessarily. Again, if you're someone watching this and you say, you know what, if I don't foam roll, I can't perform, it's probably a bit of a different topic. But if you're looking, where can I really put my time and energy to improve my performance? Foam rolling doesn't come high on that list at all. If I had to kind of pick one topic that I get asked about a lot as a coach, and I'm sure you've read up on it yourself, a lot of books out there, a lot of great podcasts. I was listening to one the other day on kind of the science of recovery. It's a bit tricky because you're seeing a lot of, I guess, proposed techniques on this podcast. I heard them called sacred cows, like, you know, these techniques that are like everybody's doing it, so I need to be doing it, and I kind of lump foam rolling into that man, my whole running group I'm with, they all foam roll after they do a run. Should I be doing this? And again, this is a case where I feel like doing some foam rolling can actually impede your recovery a bit. We know from human physiology that after we exercise, there is a bit of micro damage or kind of inflammation process that happens, which is a normal thing, and it's actually a good thing. It's meant to make our tissues and our body stronger, right? And if we do any kind of activity to impede that, which could include foam rolling, if you're pushing on those tissues and not really allowing the normal kind of inflammatory process, it's not a good thing, right? And we're even seeing now the research with icing, and this is a good example of something we've been doing for decades in the rehab world and the performance world, and it really is something we should be doing. And I know I'm going to get probably the emails or the questions. Well, but these professional runners are doing it, and my answer to that is, well, probably because they've always been doing it and they've been seeing improvement with their performance, so they're going to keep doing it. I would just caution you that I feel like foam rolling is one of those things that could impede the normal recovery process a bit. So there's really no evidence to say it helps improve recovery. So I just would, again, just really consider kind of the why of using a foam roll for recovery. So again, we're just going to wrap up this. I encourage you to post some comments below. So again, thanks a lot for joining us. Stay tuned for more of these videos. You can also go to our website and check out some other videos we have, or even on Facebook. We have obviously in the video section there's some other helpful videos on there. So again, thanks for joining us.